All right, guys, just give me 1 second. I want to share this, make sure everybody is checking this out and all that. You know what I mean? Because all right, guys, I'm back. Had to make sure I share that or whatever. Let this motorcycle go through, and I'm gonna get into what I'm. All right, so I know a lot of people have been watching the clip with Doggy Diamonds and seeing Freddie P on there giving his interview, his testament to what happened in his real time or whatever the case may be. And even though the article itself is broken up into segments, the interview, excuse me, is broken up into segments. And I've only seen 2 clips so far. I want to give my interpretation of what I see or whatever. Do I think that Freddie P is spewing chuck and telling lies? Nah, not at all. And I'm going to tell you one of the things that was most familiar to me and the reason why I set out and I said and I knew he was telling the truth, because only certain people going to know this. And the one thing that I knew that stuck out more than anything was when he talked about the studio. See, I know Daddy's House Recording Studio because I used to record there. Shout out to Tony, he used to run the studio. I ain't gonna say his last name, I'm just gonna say Tony D. You know what I mean? And shout out to Flames Flow, Shaquan, Brian, of course, Steve Dickey, excuse me, and a lot of other people up there at Daddy's House Recording Studio formerly before it was shut down. Now, I know the setup. And I've done lives at Daddy's House Recording Studios. I've actually went back there since it's been closed and did a live in front of the studio talking about my situation at the time with Puff and Bad Boy and everything like that. And I know exactly what Freddie P was talking about. When you walk out first of all, when you walked in the studio, there was a building that you had to walk in. You had to walk in the doors. There was a desk on the right, and then the elevators. There's 2 sets of them. They were on the left. The first elevator went up to Daddy's house, which I believe was on the fourth floor at the time. I think it was on the 4th floor. It was either 4th floor or 3rd floor, one of the 2, but it was the 4th or the 3rd floor. And right adjacent to that, not even 3 doors down, it was a restaurant right there. I think it was an Asian restaurant. And then next to that was a parking lot. That's the parking lot Freddie was talking about. And across the street now, there's actually a hotel that's been there for a couple of years now, probably like 10 years or so. So that's what Freddie P was talking about. And he was right. That traffic goes one way. So basically, if you shoot out of the parking lot right there, you shooting straight for the West Side Highway at that time. So I knew exactly what he was talking about. Now, as far as him talking about giving you had on you based on the entourage that he rolled with, you know that and I know that. I also want to say something else to Freddie P. Don't start getting on a tirade when you go talk to everybody, okay? Don't get on a tirade when you go talk to everybody and speaking to everybody about family business. I try to express this not only to Gene Deal, but a couple other people that are disgruntled. I see Baz making her rounds around the thing or whatever. He's using this as energy. Is it? Hold on 1 second. Let me fix it. Hopefully that's better for y'all. Hello, Davin. Just got a notification. Keep going. All right. Tell me if that's a little bit better. Just put a check mark or something like that. I had my phone in my pocket earlier, so it happens. But what I wanted to continue on was don't go to every publication that you possibly can and make a declaration of your disgruntledness with Puff. I didn't do that. And I keep telling y'all don't do that. A lot of people, you know, put Doggy Diamonds aside. You can rely on him because of his integrity. I did a video when I was joking, you know what I'm saying, with Senseforth, you know what I'm saying? It was just, that was our interaction, you know what I mean? Like some things, they just are interaction. You understand what I'm saying? That don't mean that I don't like Doggy Diamonds. That don't mean the Doggy Diamonds is candor is not there. And if you clearly heard Mace, he said, I got to make the rounds. I got to go talk to Doggy Diamonds TV. I got to go talk to this person. I got to go talk to that person. When's the last time I talked to, I don't even know you, nigga. Let's get that nigga up out of here. I don't like niggas that come in and ask questions and ain't never donated to the cause or nothing. No, we don't do that. We don't do that over here. If you want to ask some questions, it's $@ STRINGERBELL80. Stringer Bell 80. You can direct all your questions there. If I don't know you, don't come asking me questions. Don't come asking me theory. I'm sitting here explaining why I didn't do interviews. And this one is, when the last time you talked to so-and-so? Ain't none of your business. I never seen it before either. And then when he came in talking about box office, I was like, oh God, that's one of them delusional ones that actually think. There's a lot of people that are delusional on YouTube and think that they actually are a commercial entity or a media entity. And I'm here to tell you, you're not. All right? YouTube owns everything that you are. I'm going to get back to the premise, but I just want to point this out clear. I notice a lot of people, they want to get up here talking about such and such box office and such, ain't got an original thought in their body, ain't got an original post whatsoever. I got a guy right now that's on here and day out and day out, he makes videos about Corey Holcomb. You know what I'm saying? It's actually about 6 or 7 of them. I never comment on the channel because that's what he wants. He wants that energy. But this man ain't never been to a Corey Holcomb show in his life. And the only thing he running with is the pure simple fact that they both from Chicago. These people are crazy on YouTube, so we had to get him up out of here. I don't do gossipers. I gotta find out the truthers. I don't do any of that. That's why I said, be very careful, Mace. Be very careful, Freddie, who you go talk to outside Doggy Diamonds. You better pay attention. I ain't never seen him either, Antoine Queen. You got to be very careful who you're talking to. A lot of these people that y'all talking to, they have only their own interests at hand. We live in a world now that YouTube has created the same people that many people that are on YouTube talk about in the music industry. They're the exact same people, the doppelgangers. If you don't know what a doppelganger is, it's an identical twin. They're the same thing. They use the same tactics, shaming. They use the same tactics, gossiping. They use the same tactics, trying to get people up out of here that they don't find deemed for the people, whatever. They've tried to do it to me. They've done it to many people. You understand? It's going to continue to happen because the thirst is that deep. And the funny thing about it is most of these people, they do it off a base of a model based on donations. They don't do it. They're not even, if you don't know what I mean by that, they're not actually even monetized by YouTube to be monetized by YouTube. You're trying to bring the delegates. That's different. Posting and pasting people's already known work as your own motive every day for your channel, that's not a channel. That's a motherfucker that rehashes and reposts things that are already there. I don't respect that. That's not journalism. That's not having an original thought in your body or mind, and I don't respect it. All of us do it. We repost stories, we rehash stories, but I only respect the ones that get online and they actually have original thought based on it. Hence, Doggy Diamonds and a few other bloggers just like him. All right? Now, FREDDYP, I want to put this very clear to you. What you are doing as you go out and you talking about I was going to pull the thing on them and all that or whatever, you got to be ready for situations like that. All right? You can't go up here and rehash things that you was going to do 10, 15 years ago to make yourself look like a tough guy online. That ain't going to work for you. All right? Now, ain't nobody, Prez, anybody else up at Bad Boy or once was at Bad Boy didn't tell me to come on here and say this. Puff or anybody else didn't tell me to come on here and say this, and I'm not shooting you any warning, but what I am telling you is what I saw and what I heard. I heard how you said that you were disgruntled enough that it made you not want to return back to New York City after you had done your little hiatus and left for a while. I heard you say that in the clip. I find all this interesting because the pure simple fact, had you returned and had you performed when Dave Chappelle asked you to perform, would have been a setback. What would you have gained? Would you be in the position now that you said that you wanted to be in? Had you followed the rules and things that Puff was suggesting, would you have been in a better place now as an artist? And I have to quite honestly say, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if any of us would have been in a bad situation. I'll give you another example. I remember when I think this was the second season of making the band, I actually went down, and I think it was by the 30s. It was either 30s or lower 40s. a little bit further down on 9th or 10th Avenue, I went down there and I went to the audition or whatever. And I remember Prez at the time, who was my boss. And I know I don't use Prez's name to gain some notoriety or validate myself. I don't have to do that. I got enough pictures and video and everything else of me being at Bad Boy Entertainment for the past 17 years. I got enough people that see my face and know me up at Bad Boy Entertainment to not have to use other people's name to validate myself. But the problem with me is, these bloggers and people like that, they don't look at certain people, even though you were part of the company. They only look for the ones that had a shiny emblem with them, meaning like you see that picture that's up on the what's the name here with Puff and the Making the Band members, Ness, Babs, and everybody like that. They only want to highlight those people because they see that will get them views. They see that will get them where they want to be as far as the ecosphere of YouTube is concerned. And I understand it. Most of you are thirst monsters and you're not concerned with the people. You're concerned with your own individual superstar notoriety, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. Most of you ain't about shit anyway on there. But for the ones that are, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So no, I wasn't a CEO. No, I wasn't da-da-da-da-da. But I was bigger than you. In comparison to you, I was bigger than you. Let's put it that way. You know what I mean? I've been in the studio. I've recorded in the studios in the same rooms as Big, 112, Cassie, everybody else up here at Daddy's House Recording Studio. So respect my grind and the continued grind that I will be doing. And another spectrum of the entertainment industry that I'm working on so digitally and hard right now. FREDDYP and many other artists that have come forth and said, including most recently Mace, that have come forth and said their treatment in dealings with Bad Boy Entertainment and Puff specifically have been from a disgruntled position. Mine was from a disgruntled position as well, for many other litanies or other reasons that I choose to keep to myself, because some things that should not just be put out there. FREDDYP, I want to tell you, whether you're doing an interview with Doggy Diamonds, who Doggy Diamonds I believe you can trust. I don't believe Doggy Diamonds is going to go to the police and say, hey, this is what this one said. But what you might have a problem with is if you rehash that story to certain other bloggers, they'll take that 15 seconds or 10 seconds, however long, what you said, and they will roll with it. And now it becomes a narrative that they put out to everybody else. FREDDYP was going to shoot Puff at the studio. And now you got a viral video that actually gets more views off that 10 seconds of footage than the actual individual intricate interview itself with Doggy Diamonds. This is how this works. That's how this works. Oh, you got to realize there are people within the culture, black culture and Latin culture, that talk about the sacrifice and signing to the Omen and the Illuminati and all this other shit they say we were part of, right? Listen, I ain't never walked in a room and seen Puff sleeping with any man. I ain't never been in a situation where I've been around Bad Boy Entertainment or anybody within Bad Boy Entertainment and they asked me to do something sexually with them. I've never been in a room with any of my comrades that I co-worked with for over 17 years, most of them. I have never seen them or been put in a position where we have had a woman come about from any of them or anybody be accused of doing anything sexually immoral to any woman or man for that point. You understand? That's any of the guys I worked with. Any of them. Any of them. Never. So when it comes to answering questions like that or appealing to questions like that, I don't do it. As you saw, somebody just came in here in the chat room a minute ago and asked me the same question. Don't ask me questions if you ain't donated, for one. Two, don't be new here and the first thing you do is ask a question and don't say, hey, how you doing? I don't play that. Now, whether it been Storm and Roll, who I don't have a problem with really like that, or whether it been other bloggers that came to me and offered me hundreds of dollars, and in some cases when the story first dropped, thousands of dollars to see my piece and hear my piece on what I thought about Bad Boy Entertainment. I refuse to this day to go live with any of you motherfuckers, because I know how nefarious y'all, I know how insidious most of y'all, and I know how most of y'all are just like crabs in a barrel, and the only thing you do is build off gossip. Which brings me to this. It is 2022. We're almost halfway in the year now. May will be here pretty soon. April is around the corner. And for the past 5 to 10 years, I've seen most of you bloggers doing the same spiel, as they say in Yiddish. The same spiel, meaning that only thing you do is rehash gossip, rehash celebrities, rehash beefs, talk about people, and contrive stories, and even if they're a lie, you will roll with them. And I'm here to tell you, sooner or later, a lot of these superstars that you're talking about, because you're making a mistake and not realizing, just like Freddie P say, Puff has got reach. A reach that I'm familiar with, and I won't go on record as saying what I've seen or what I haven't seen, but let's just say I'm familiar with. And that stretch, well, the line for that stretch only goes so far. Make no mistake about it, Uncle Big Midwest has said it before. I don't like saying people's names no more. Big Midwest, you know what I'm talking about. Depending on the individual and who you are and what you said, you know. So be very careful what you say, Freddie P, in these interviews and incriminating yourself. You were there to hold the directive of saying what happened to you, why you're disgruntled, why you don't think the contracts are right, etc., etc., etc. And then after that point, you go on about your business and go on to the next interview, or you don't say anything else. You don't have the relationship that Mace had with Puff. You don't even have the relationship with us and most artists that were up at the label. So with that being said, I don't know Freddie P. I've never met Freddie P. I've never met Babs. Actually, I take that back. I met Babs momentarily, and she was amongst other people talking to them. So I said hello to her, walked up to her, and that was it. She probably don't even remember me. Now, Chopper, on the other hand, Chopper's a different story. Shout out to young Chopper City, man. Hope you check me out, man. That's my man. Last time I saw him was in Miami. Chopper's always been a stand-up dude. I don't have that intricate of interaction with Chopper, but we have talked more than enough times online, so I want to say shout out to Chopper. But with all this disgruntledness from all these hip-hop artists that come from Bad Boy Entertainment, one of the things that sticks out is there's some validity in some of these accusations, including at the small point of my own. There's some validity. And I can't tell you how many times I go over to Puff's Instagram page, or what's the name, and I know you watch me just like I watch you, Puff. So you know, I saw that the other day when you threw up the what's the name, the you know what I'm talking about, the clip you threw up, and it mirrored almost the same exact, and I do mean same exact music that I had entitled in mind. You didn't think I saw that, did you? I saw it. He fucks with people like that. This guy, you think he's all about love, but he's not. He's an insidious, ruthless person. And that much I can say. Now, I won't speak about what you've done, what you haven't done, what I speculate you've done, anything about your children, anything about your late ex, or any of that stuff. I don't talk about Cassie. And Cassie literally, and I do mean this, shout out to her brother Roderick, who I've hung out with. Cassie is from New London, Connecticut. I used to live in New London, Connecticut for quite a while and know Cassie and her family. You understand what I'm saying? I remember us walking Cassie through, I think it was last time we were around Cassie was at King of Diamonds in Miami, ironically enough. And this was when T.I. first came home from his prison bid. They did subsequently, I think, 2 welcome homes, because we did the one in Miami, and then following 2 weeks later, we did it at a compound in Atlanta, Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Dunwoody, all them over there, S.O., you know what I'm saying? Shout out to all them, man. I forgot what the brother's name is that owns all them clubs down there. It's an Ethiopian brother, but shout out to him. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you still own them clubs down in Atlanta or whatever, but shout out to him. There's a point where you have to stop talking to these vloggers, Freddie P, and put some logistics behind what you're advocating. And I think you're going to find that pretty soon. When you start seeing these same people that you're doing interviews for, you're going to see their crowd start coming in. And what they're going to do is they're going to start trying to demote you. They're going to start trying to show the crowd that you're a liar. They're going to try to show the crowd that you shouldn't be listened to. These are the same very people that will tell you if they have a problem, stand up for me, defend me. This is not right. These same people, they have one set of rules, and this is what I was talking about for Kataji. They have one set of rules for one segment of black people, and they have another set of rules for another segment of black people that they don't feel that are deemed enough to talk about this story or whatever the case may be, or pit their disgruntledness, or however you want to pin it. And this is a problem, because if you don't speak unilaterally for one issue and you fall on one issue, because like I said on Puff's Instagram, one of the things I see more lately than many things is this. You'll have a group of people, many of them, I'm not going to say your name, but I see you and you know better at this point. You know better at this point. I'm going to look right in the camera when I say that. Y'all know better at this point. At this point, and I love y'all. You know what I'm saying? Even if y'all don't love me back, I love y'all. I got deep love for y'all. Y'all if y'all don't see yet that there's some problems here, then I don't know what to tell you, because y'all keep running over there when the bigger artists, Mace is the biggest artist so far that's come up and expressed his disgruntledness almost 20 years later. What you gonna say, Mace a fool too? Mace ain't nothing, but had this not been going on, you'd be like, oh, Mace, yo, Mace, man, he might be coming back with another. Had nothing been going on, I know some people personally up in Bad Boy that would still be congratulating Mace, and Mace walked into the room. So let's not play games here, all right? Let's not pretend. And I've seen a lot of y'all that I know personally from Bad Boy that be over there, no matter what Puff put up, y'all liking it. It's not gonna get you any further in your career. He is not concerned with helping you. If that was the case, like I said before, every last one of us would have 10 stacks at minimum. I was trying to tell you, take it back to 1990 and throw some CDs in the trunk and just hit the block. They gonna buy it. Work your way out of it. Pick your chin up. These are quotes from white folks. Y'all understand that? Just pull your chin up. Just pick your chin up. You be all right. I'm excellent. Don't you want to be excellent too? And all that other heebie-jeebie bullshit that he talks. I know Chuck shit when I hear it. I was in the streets. I sold drugs. Way before I got with Bad Boy Entertainment. I know what a stand-up motherfucker is. And I know what a sucker is. Or not necessarily a sucker, but when I hear sucker shit. And usually when we heard sucker shit, we would try hardest to get the fuck away from it as quick as possible, because we know along with that sucker shit is gonna come sucker actions. And we avoided that. Shout out to North Face Click, man, Mount Vernon, Queens of Brooklyn. You stay away from suckers. I don't care what realm of life you're in, business world, or whatever the case may be. A sucker will do nothing for you but bring you down or dispose of you when the time is seen fit. That's what suckers do. Now, I'm not saying that Puff is a sucker necessarily, but I'm saying for the past 25 plus years, a lot of the moves that you've done have been suckerish. Making that boy, like he explained, walk across the Brooklyn Bridge to get cheesecake, which the Brooklyn Bridge ain't that far of a walk. If y'all not from New York or the New York City tri-state area, you won't understand that. But to walk across the Brooklyn Bridge, they have like literally bike lanes and everything else. You can walk across it. I've walked across it a couple of times to go to Brooklyn Promenade. But walking across it, give me 1 second, we got an idiot. Walking across it from Manhattan, now that's a different thing. Now, lower Manhattan, yeah. I'm trying to tell y'all, man. Freddie P going on these different advocacies and trying to place his disgruntledness. I'll pinpoint it right here on one post that Puff just recently put up, where he was playing basketball with 3 gentlemen or whatever the case may be, right? And he says in it, he says, you can't beat me. You can't beat me. That's what he says. You'll never beat me. You can't beat me. Y'all can go look at that post right now. It's on his Instagram. You can't beat me. And I said, this is somebody that's saying, once again, fuck all y'all. Basically, fuck all y'all. Fuck how your life turned out. Fuck if you didn't make it while you were with me. Fuck it if you didn't take the advantage of the situation. All kinds of people will make up excuses for this, man. But at the bottom of the line is, you've got now 7 plus, maybe 8 plus people that are coming back complaining contractually that their shit hasn't been obligated, most recently Mace. I can't make this up. So we're talking 20, 25 years later, and people are still coming back and they're saying, hey, my contract was messed up. The language in my contract was this. And you're telling kids that were from the streets, not the same literacy that we have nowadays. We're talking about the late 90s, mid 90s in some cases, early 2000s. These kids from the street, black, Spanish alike, were signing these contracts with not just Puff, but multiple different record labels. And you're telling me, oh, well, you should have got an entertainment lawyer. All right, I want the first person on here to tell me what's the retainment for an entertainment lawyer if you're coming out of poverty. Tell me what the retainer is for an entertainment lawyer, and then I want you to follow that up behind how much hourly, if not consultant-wise, that same entertainment lawyer will cost. And then you'll notice that you're talking out your ass. You're making presumptuous thoughts and putting them on camera and trying to make them seem like they're solid. And I'm here to tell you, you ain't solid. You wasn't around, you wasn't with us, and you're guessing. And that's what most of these vloggers are doing. And it hurts my heart when I see a lot of you artists that may not have the same momentum as you once used to have, or not touring because of the pandemic as heavily as you once before, or a lot of people have forgotten you, or whatever the case may be, going on such and such podcasts or such and such podcast, just based on the numbers of followers they had, or based on the numbers that they got with a previous interview or whatever was said such person. And I'm telling you, it may not always work out for you like that. Just because such and such, who was an older artist, got so many hits or whatever on their interview, doesn't mean you're going to see the same amount of votes, hits, whatever on your interview. It's just not, it just doesn't work that way. And if you believe that, you're a fool. If you believe that YouTubers will give you the same saturation, and YouTubers will actually go and purchase your music based on the fact that you did an interview with your favorite YouTuber, then you're out of your mind. They're not going to go purchase your music because you went on an interview with such and such podcast. They're not going to do it. I'm going to tell you what they're going to do so y'all learn a little bit. This is for the artists. The majority of these vloggers that you go talk to, these podcasters that you go talk to, what's going to happen is you're only aiding them in their mediocre rise to the top. You're only aiding them in the gossip that fills their channels. You're only aiding them in the whole ecosphere of gossiping that goes on in the blackosphere space of YouTube. And I'm gonna get into that in a minute because I'm getting tired of that shit. You motherfuckers ain't got an original bone in your body. You better be glad this is podcasting versus the actual music industry, because this is a music industry and you came in and you were grabbing or stealing, because there was a time that happened. People used to come in, and Puff got famous for that and later on sued a couple times for taking people's original work, reworking it, and making it into their own. Now, all these same older artists that you're interviewing, ask them how many times they've been sued for sampling. Ask them that. I had to have conversations on here on YouTube with certain beat makers, because when I was looking for a couple new beats, I noticed that people on here and they were sampling Mary J. Blige. I heard people rip the Fugees and everybody else in creating their beats. And at the same time as they're creating these beats, they're not taking in the literally in the fashion and most that, hey, you're sampling from an already circulated project and creating a new project out of it and trying to rehash it and sell it. You can get sued for that. Could it be $25 or $50 to retain that? Could it be $25 or $50 to retain, Davin? I'm not sure, but I do know this much. I'm not sure what you meant by that, Antoine Queen, but work that for me again so I can make sure I answer your question right. You're worth answering. This is somebody that's always here with me and rocking out with me. If you're borrowing people's beats and you're using them, or you're buying people's beats rather, and it's $25 or $50, which I think Antoine Queen is saying, and you're purchasing these beats and you have a multitude of sales and you go as far as selling it exclusively, you can be sued for that. Well, the same thing is going in high sense with YouTube, and it'll start going impacting even more. You're going to see a lot of people from YouTube in the future, they're going to run out of material, which is one of the main reasons you see most of them on here gossiping. And they want to interview these old rappers. They want to find out, and I'm not saying old rappers per se, but older rappers. They want to find out what happened in these time points, in these specific times, and they want to find out what the gossip is, what's the juice, and they'll hide it under this label. I want to know the truth. You don't want to know the truth. You want to know the tea and the gossip. See, this is where language comes into factor. And that same language was used and misconstrued when it came to Mace and many other artists as they are presenting. Now, if you're not understanding what I mean by language, meaning language is used to manipulate people. I use this as an example when I was talking about the women's rights movement and how you have a segment of women that are actually with the advancement of women, and you actually have a segment that are using it for their own personal gain and attributions and ambitions. Well, you have the same thing with YouTubers. You have YouTubers that are out here that actually want to see change, actually have viable fucking means of which they're asking these questions, and then you have other YouTubers that are just there for the hype and the views. You understand what I'm saying? And had this been the music industry, most of y'all would have been out of here 10 years ago. The way that you carry on, gossip, lie, rip people's material, don't even give a damn of doing any commentary, just rip it. And I've done it once or twice myself, I ain't gonna lie, but your whole spill and your whole page is that. That's it. That's it. Gossip. So when it comes to Freddie P and this situation going on with Freddie P, and I haven't seen the whole entire interview yet, I will watch the interview. I will share the interview when it's released by Doggy Diamonds. You understand what I'm saying? And this is no like I come to this level where I'm like, yo, I'm supporting Doggy Diamonds now. Nah, I told y'all when I made that kooky ass video about Doggy Diamonds using Black Dynamite as an example in that Frog Curtis. I told y'all then at the end of the video, we gonna work together probably one day. I want to, you know what I'm saying, sit down with Doggy Diamonds one day. So ain't no chuck about that. And I didn't need anybody to back me up. I didn't need anybody's opinion. I didn't need anybody to, oh, you doing the wrong thing. I didn't need nobody to do that for me. I can see through a chuck motherfucker. I done hung, my partners are from Brooklyn. I just mentioned 3 people early in the last broadcast at the end that I've lost from Brooklyn in this past year and some change, and one from the Bronx, and one from Hartford, Connecticut. So make no mistake about it. You know what I'm saying? I've always been around Brooklyn nights. A lot of Brooklyn in me. People that know me. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Myrtle. You know what I mean? All them over there, Thompson, all them, man. I got real friends in the projects. That's a fact. Now, I say this and I say this one time, man. And I always give a shout out to Jerry. Shout out to Jerry, man. Shout out to Jerry. It becomes apparent at some point or another that these guys that are YouTubers are using these older artists. They're using not only them as far as the hype and as far as the momentum that they'll know that they'll bring their channel, whether they're older artists or not, but also they're using these artists to narrate their own spills of gossip. And I say to you and many other YouTubers that are out there, especially the Black and Latin ones, once the gossiping thing is over, what are you going to do from there? I've got people on here that'll talk about gossiping and gossip and gossip and gossip and gossip daily on a daily basis, trying to knock people down on their knees, make fun of people that are poor, make fun of people that are having hard times, and then turn around and end the podcast and turn around and talk about God. Well, God has a passage in the Bible that speaks adamantly, passages that speak adamantly about gossiping. So where's your diatribe about gossiping there? It'll be non-existent. Shout out to Franklin Ave already. You already know Franklin, Myrtle, you know what I'm saying? The C-line, A-line over there. You know what I mean? I know that whole area over there very, very well. It becomes apparent that we're dealing with hypocrites. We're not only dealing with hypocrites, we're dealing with gossipers, and the whole almost black ecosphere of YouTube is saturated with that. The whole Latin portion of YouTube is saturated with that. The whole white portion of YouTube is saturated with that. White YouTube has kept the narrative that Kim Kardashian is all of a sudden the victim. Mind you, Kim Kardashian has spent the past 10 years showing us her behind. But now she's a great mother. While she's dating. You understand how this works? We have to take gossiping out of priority in the YouTube ecosphere. We have to take rehashing stories that happened 10 or 15 years ago and trying to make them new out of the YouTube ecosphere. Because what you're going to find is, sooner or later, that's all you're going to be known for, gossiping. Women sit around and gossip when I was growing up. Women sat around at the beauty shops. Women sat around at the local corner store. They were the one to gossip. Now you got men sitting up on here and gossip more than women do. And will sit back and have more ferocity in supporting a gossiping woman than they will their own brethren. This is why the women supersede you right now, socially. Because you are stuck in a diagram, many of y'all are women. I'm sorry. Scott Free, what's going on? Appreciate you joining in, man. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button too. Many of y'all are stuck in a diagram where you grew up with your mama And your mama used to sit around the house and gossip on the phone all day long with that long phone cord back in the day, the whole years you were growing up. She had, you remember that long phone cord? I made mention of that in my last podcast. You was balling if you had the long phone cord or you had 2 lines in your home. When I was growing up, you was a baller. Your mama, y'all got 2 phone lines? What? Y'all got the long phone cord? Y'all remember the long phone cord? You could walk around the whole house with that joint. I used to witness my own mother get on the phone and gossip with her girlfriends. I used to watch my aunts get on the phone and gossip with their girlfriends. So I know for a fact that many of you guys, if you grew up with nothing but that saturated in your home, that's all you know is gossiping. That's why it was so easy for you when YouTube became a norm that you could get on and naturally do what? Gossip like mama did and them. Let me say it the right way. Mama and them. Mama and them. You understand what I'm saying? Mama and them. Many of these men that get on here and they gossip, they talk about old stories that they were not around for, they were not in the music business for, they just want to gossip. And I got many of names I could call out. I'm glad one particular one stuck to their guns and actually turned around and said, listen, I don't want to. They started making statements, and I like that. And I'm gonna call them out, and I'm not calling them out in the bad guys, and that's Hip Hop Uncensored. I had a problem with Hip Hop Uncensored because both of them boys that sit up on that couch, neither one of them had ever been in the hip hop industry. Yet they had a lot of different opinions about what was going on or whatever the case may be. And I remember writing to them on their page, I said very eloquently, neither one of y'all have been in the music industry, so how the fuck do you know? I have. I was around when a lot of these things facilitated. I was around when the shooting happened in Club New York. I was around when Puff was going to trial. We showed up at the actual freaking courthouse down there by the Jacob Javits Center. I was around for many of different things when it comes to Bad Boy Entertainment and in general just the music industry when they transferred. I was around when CDs made their transition from CDs to going fully digital. I was around for all of that. That's why a lot of times when I go on Big Midwest podcast, I ain't gonna say who his name is, but when I go on Big Midwest podcast, I make sure to point out I was there, because I was there. I was there not only to hear it, but to see most of it with my own 2 eyes. So make no doubt about it. Yeah, make no doubt about it. I was around. You know, and I seen these things. So as far as Bad Boy or a lot of people sitting on here telling people don't donate to me, don't do this with me, don't frequent my channel, and then turn around and go to their favorite YouTuber and donate $100 and $200 or whatever, but at the same time talking against Puff. You make no sense. You know, you make no sense. A lot of people that get on here and they get donations for $200, $300 for talking down to women, making fun of women, telling young girls that's 20 something years old whether they attractive or not. And I do my own little, if you want to say, brand of now I ain't gonna tell y'all that because then that'll lose y'all on, then y'all be prepared for it. But I do my own little brand of sniffing out like an old bloodhound these motherfuckers that fall in that queue. And every time they fall right for it. Every time, like clockwork. Y'all understand what I'm talking about probably sometime in the future. I wait for that to come out. But like I said, I ain't gonna speak on it now. But when that time comes prepared, I will tell y'all what I mean by that. But there's many different ways you can find out who's who. So that's what I do. I go around and I make sure I find out who's who. And them boys over Hip Hop Uncensored, the skinnier one, I know he's had some interactions within the music industry, but as far as being a full-fledged member in the music industry, that's non-existent. You wasn't like us. You wasn't making no moves. You wasn't making no deals. You wasn't going state to state. You wasn't partying with niggas. You wasn't in the clubs with niggas. You wasn't at events with niggas. So shut the fuck up when it comes to that shit. Not him, but this in particular, people that do that. Shut the fuck up. You wasn't around, G. And I'm getting tired of seeing that. And I'm getting tired of these dumbass artists that are going over there sitting on such and such's couch of the week, whoever they think is popular, talking, thinking it's going to reside in, and it's going to turn into popularity. It's going to turn into album sales or whatever the case may be. Many of you guys, when y'all go on these interviews, y'all don't even say at the end of the interview where to find you on social media. Many of y'all, when y'all go to the end of these interviews with hip hop blogger such and such, you don't even put in there the link to your music, or ask or request of the podcaster, hey, can you put a link in your thing for my Spotify, for my music links or whatever. You don't even try to monetize off the interviews. Instead of trying to monetize off the interviews, instead what most of y'all guys do instead is do this. Y'all go on there, y'all gossip. Once y'all gossip and spill whatever you have to spill and gossip about, you get up off that couch, hope that you get the views, and walk on off. And you see nothing monetarily based from that interview. That's the problem. And many of y'all I'm sorry, I watch this little girl. Go ahead. Many of these, I watch this little girl, she's chasing geese out here. Hold on, let me show you guys. It was so cute. See the geese right there? And so she was chasing the geese behind it, so it made me chuckle a little bit. Many of you guys that go on these interviews, you're not keeping in potential the fact of this. There's no come up from going to interview with these guys. There's no come up and trying to, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for here? Trying to expose such and such or anybody else or whatever. Scott Free says, Satan has complete control of the industry now. Can I agree with that? Yeah, partially. I can agree with that. And I'll tell you why I can agree with that. I can agree with that because there's not the same amount of money in the music industry that once was. I've mentioned this before, and I'll talk about it again real quickly and real briefly. I said, and I just mentioned a few minutes ago, I was there for the transition of CDs. When I first got it at Bad Boy Entertainment, right? We were still selling CDs. In fact, I'll even go further than that. The building that we were in was the Burleson Music Group building, which was actually the people that had a deal with Arista, which Arista in turn had a deal with Clive Davis, which Clive Davis and Dale had a deal with Puff. So we're talking about almost 3 to 4 different tiers here, all right? And this is as far as distribution is concerned. When we were in that building was adjacent to Virgin Megastore. Now, many people won't remember Virgin Megastore, but for those that are real New Yorkers, real LA people, real people in Atlanta, real people in Florida, real people in Texas, y'all remember Virgin Megastore and many of the other ones. Virgin Megastore, Tower Records or whatever, and they facilitated the sales of music CDs. I remember you could go into the store, they had listening stations or whatever. Well, that building was adjacent, and literally you could walk out that building, walk out 2 twin doors, and you will be right into our office. Now, anybody that worked up at Bad Boy Entertainment, they know this. And a lot of times when we did in stores or whatever, people would come from downstairs. I can most notoriety remember multiple times with Puff where he would do in stores at Virgin Megastore. I think Rick Ross was some of the very few of the last that actually did those in stores at Tower Records and Virgin Megastore and places like that or whatever, because I remember being at one of Rick Ross's signings and all that or whatever. And I think this was when not Port of Miami was coming out. It was the record after Port of Miami. But people used to go into these stores and they would do listening sessions, everything else or whatever. So if y'all not familiar with it, this is a time before then. Now, the funny thing is, when we go into that office building or whatever, and we go up to, I forgot what floor it was at this time. Y'all got to correct me. But you would see that automatically the sales would be there. And they used to do this thing where they projectionally would send out a certain amount of albums or a certain amount of CDs or whatever as projectional sales. So let's just put in a number. Let's say 200,000. So they would send out 200,000 CDs to different distributors or whatever, right? And within those 200,000 copies or whatever, a lot of times what would happen is they would send people in from the companies or whatever to buy the albums in bulk. You understand what I'm saying? Basically buy them back. So it would make it look like the artist, whoever said artist, was actually doing more sales nationally than actually he was. There used to be teams of people that did this. Many people in the industry, they know what I'm talking about. I ain't making this up. And so basically people would go in, buy the albums or whatever, and it would look like that artist is garnering sales. Based off garnering sales and way people are mentally anyway, they see that artist is garnering sales, so it translates to them, oh, they must be popping. They must be popping. Now, he said yesterday's money is not today's money. Now, let me tell you how this all differentiates now. Now, with the advent of streaming services, it's a much different world. You've heard people like Taylor Swift. You've heard people like Pharrell and numerous different artists that have now come on and expressed their feelings of dealing with Spotify and many other digital distribution industries that are out and about. Even with Tidal, okay? Exactly the same way that YouTube takes views, fakes views. Now, this is the funny thing about it. With that being said, a lot of these artists at one time that had deals, they're still, how can I put it? They're still entitled to those deals, and they're still seeing residuals off of those deals as at the time that they signed them. Meaning Master P and a couple other artists that were the last batch that had those double CDs out and things like that or whatever. They're the ones that see the bulk of the money still in this day. They made the bulk of their money when those places like Virgin Megastore, Tower Records was still open. That's where they made the bulk of their money in physical sales versus digital sales. Digital sales are worth pennies on the dollar. And when I say pennies on the dollar, most spins are worth less than 5 cents. To be quite frank, 0.05 cents. All right? 0.05 cents. And that's what you're seeing on each one of your views. That's why it takes a lot of artists millions upon millions of views before they see any sales. Okay? Now, what I like to see is somebody actually come out from the music industry and actually, I'm talking about somebody that's active in the music industry right now, to come out and actually say, hey, that's the truth. A lot of these artists are not making any money. We just saw recently Meg Thee Stallion come out and describe her deal and how that was set up. You know what I mean? And I'm not here to judge Leor. I'm not gonna say no names, but I'm not here to judge Leor. But just like Puff, it's something funny over there at 300. Something funny going over there at 300. I don't know what it is. Shout out to Leor though. And Leor, fix up this shit. You went to him. Fix up this shit that's going on over YouTube. I got 7,000 followers, man. I'm only getting like 30 people, 40 people in here. That's another thing you're gonna see too. How many of you big time black YouTubers, and when you see this, have considered leaving YouTube because based off the view scale? Versus if you put that in comparison with your now standing subscription rate. How many of y'all considered leaving YouTube? There's a reason behind that too. YouTube has created a new paradigm, if many of y'all have not picked up on it. The same has happened with PayPal, and the same has happened with Cash App, where they're now requiring you to fill out W-4 forms, meaning taxes, to actually see your money from them. This didn't exist previous to this. Previous to this past year, you could be a YouTuber, and if you were monetized by YouTube, you would see all your residuals from all your views, and you would see non-taxed money. But with Joe Biden and his increments of trying to go in and see what everybody is making, got to make this money back somehow. All this corona money we didn't spent, this COVID-19 money we didn't spent on the stimulus, we got to make it act somehow. So you're now looking at new angles to make money. It's the same thing that goes. YouTube is now going to become a proponent where you're not going to make as much money as you used to. And this is based on taxes. Not only are they only giving you a segment of the money versus the advertisements that you're putting up on your page, you're only seeing a segment from there, so that's deduced with money, pennies on the dollar. But now you're also seeing pennies on the dollar because of pure simple fact taxes are being taken out. So for somebody that usually would have made, I heard one YouTuber, Donovan Sharp, speak about how he made $68,000 last year. Well, this year that same $68,000 will probably be likely around about 50, say about 59.5 or somewhere about 61 after they take out all the taxes. Now, you understanding what I'm talking about here? This is why it's so important to have an entertainment lawyer go over a contract with a fine-tooth comb. You must understand the power of words. I told him earlier in this broadcast, and I'll tell him again. At the time that FREDDYP and a lot of these other artists, even in 2004, earlier than that, when they were signing these deals, these guys did not have entertainment lawyers, were not aware of entertainment lawyers, were not accessible to the internet as you have been in the past 10 years. And more people need to start pointing that out. More and more, that's right, YouTube takes a percentage first. That's why most of us depend on donations, because you can't speak against a white man, but at the same time, you're telling black YouTubers, go to the white man to get paid. You can't depend on us. That makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? And in fact, make sure y'all hit that like button. It's $STRINGERBELL 80, Stringerbell 80 on Cash App. We will do not use that PayPal link. I will not be using PayPal anymore. We're going to find something else to replace it because, as I'm mentioning, they're now taking taxes out of your donations and everything else. Well, donations are not, but if you facilitate business, they do. And so I found that out the other day where I was going on to PayPal because somebody donated to me and I wasn't able to extract the money. I had to call PayPal and actually take a picture of my state ID, etc., 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 to actually be able to extract money from PayPal. And if you use PayPal, you'll find the same thing if you haven't found out already and have to go through the same thing. They're going to make you show your ID. They're going to make you go through a 4-step protocol, whatever. I just did this 2 days ago, okay, to get my little, what was it, $62 out of PayPal. You know what I'm saying? So this goes to show you the avenue in which not only the entertainment industry, but also the YouTube industry is taking now as far as moving into the future. Things are going to get harder. Things are going to get rougher, and it's going to depend on your support of each other and changing the diagram of which you're putting out, the material that you're putting out. One of the problems, and I'll end this with this, that has happened, unfortunately, with YouTube and the music industry, and I like to say, somebody said the devil runs the music industry. Well, the devil runs YouTube and Google too. Don't you forget that, because all those facilities that we mentioned, including the music business, and even what I was mentioning, PayPal, all are facilitated through Google and motherfucking internet. The devil's paradigm. You know what I mean? Oh, a lot of y'all gonna miss what I'm saying here. I know y'all. We're talking about the devil while we're sitting in hell. Does that make more sense for you? You talking about the devil when you're in one of the realms of hell. YouTube in any other world would be called loan sharking. You have a 3-tier system now that you're going to be seeing your money or not seeing your money from, depending on not if you're monetized by them. You have a 3-tier system now that goes down before you get paid in regards to being monetized or utilizing PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App specifically. There's a new paradigm, and if y'all don't want to listen to what I'm saying, that's fine. You'll find out. You'll find out. If you haven't found out already, you'll find out. And you'll come back and you'll be like, damn, Davin knew what he was talking about. I never get the credit or half of the things that I know for a fact that I'm talking about, half of the projections that I've given or whatever, as far as the music business when I was around there, or in fact here on YouTube. I will never get the recognition for half of the stuff that I say, at least not right now anyway. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. My purpose and sole purpose on here is not to do that, but to more so enlighten you guys. So with Freddie, I would just say this. Freddie, stay out the way. Don't do too many interviews. Don't get to talking too much about what you was and wasn't going to do. You might be incriminating yourself, so watch who you talk to. There's a lot of snitches online. A lot of people will take that 10-second clip and run with it. When you talking about you had the goddamn it going to see Puff by the studio, and especially people like me that are familiar with Daddy's House and recorded at Daddy's House know exactly what you're talking about, so it can be fused as and feased as actually being true. Got to be careful. Don't be sorry, be careful, all right? I was told that YouTube is going to start asking for fingerprints, Davin. They might. I had to take a picture of my ID, like I said, and send it to PayPal. You know, and it was live action as I was doing it, so I was able not only to see them taking the picture, but uploading it. And they refused to let me extract my money from PayPal until I did so. Are you not understanding what I'm saying? Now, y'all can sit around. I know a lot of y'all like to sit around and key all day long. That's what it seems like a lot of Black and Spanish YouTubers like to do. A key, like the chicks that raised you. Back to once again, like I said, a lot of these men and women act exactly like the men and women that they were around, which mostly of them wasn't shit, to be quite honest with you, their whole entire life. They act just like them. So in regards to that, a key. But yes, it's quite possible that not only YouTube will start taking your fingerprints, but many of these other facilities may start taking your fingerprints too, because they're now seeing how much money is involved in this. My name is Davin Lewis, guys. I'm out of here. I just wanted to sit back with you guys for a little bit and talk about that. If any of you guys have any questions for me, ask me right now. I'm here for you to ask them. And I just want to read off who's all here. Scott Free, I appreciate you tuning in. Anton Queen, I appreciate you always. And everybody else that just tune in. And I just want to say this too. Don't come in here asking me no questions if you ain't never donated. Don't come in here asking me anything personal about my life if you ain't never donated or contributed to the cause. Because just like Freddie P and many of us other ones that are on here, whatever, and I think I can spell what I'm saying about Freddie P. We on the fight for our lives, you know. And a lot of these guys that are on here on YouTube that are, I don't know, involved in different types of gossiping or whatever the case may be, are going to soon find out and realize that, hey, maybe we were helping out the system. Maybe we were helping out the YouTube dollar amount being boosted even more and them taking more in the end. Maybe we were helping out, making PayPal and helping Cash App and helping all these other different facilities that facilitate our money. In fact, taking a piece of our money when we take the money out and put it in our pockets. When you take money out of Cash App, they charge you to take your own money that people donated to you. When you take Super Chat, which is one of the reasons why I don't do it, you not only have to wait until the 25th of the month to get your money, but they're also taking a percentage out of it for using their services. The service that YouTube uses for the Super Chats gets paid. That's what they're getting paid out of. Them and YouTube split the money, if y'all don't understand. Then there's a third tier that comes in behind it, where now the U.S. government, Treasury Department to be specific, and the IRS are now taking their portion out of the money. So now you got three tiers of people that are taking their money before you get your money. And you asking me, why am I sitting up here asking the question of what, how, and where? Get out of here, man. A lot of y'all, the same things that y'all sit back and y'all say y'all advocate for, a lot of the things that y'all sit back and y'all say y'all for, y'all actually working with to facilitate even more. And what's happening is, as time progresses and goes on, you're going to start to see that actual big mistake that you made 3, 2, 1 year prior is going to come back to haunt you all. Not just one, all. So black YouTubers, Latin YouTubers, get it together. And Freddie P, don't get on here gossiping too goddamn much, talking about what you was going to do and wasn't going to do. And the same thing with you, Mace. I don't know Mace or Freddie P, but they part of the alumni, they part of the family, they part of Bad Boy, and it would be reckless of me not to say something. Now, you can think what you want to about me. I know a lot of people say, don't donate to him, don't bother with him. A lot of people will sully my name or whatever. You can't sully my name. I'm here, and I'm going to remain here. And if anything, you should look at me as a real motherfucker, because I could have walked off after my homeless situation was over. I could have walked away from all of y'all and said, thanks, appreciate it, and kept it going. No, I kept my message going. And I'm going to be talking more, because I know a lot of you subscribe to my page specifically for me to talk about homelessness. And I'm going to continue that fight. I haven't been able to register that I'm not homeless anymore. I've only not been homeless for about 4 months. So it's like, you know, it's hard to make the transition from a year and almost 8, 9 months of permanently being in that position to now not being in that position anymore. I mean, in my apartment, I don't even have furniture. So, you know what I mean? Every dime that I get counts. So if you guys would like to donate, do not donate to PayPal. First of all, donate to the Cash App, $STRINGERBELL 80. Again, that's Stringerbell 80, STRINGERBELL 80. And that link is in the description box. It'll also be in a pinned comment. And if you're thinking twice about donating to me, let me just say this before I say anything. And this is not to brag or force y'all to donate to me or anything like that. But I just want to say this. We have so many YouTubers that are on here. Some of them make their life day about making fun of women. Some of them make their life day about making fun of men. Some of them make their life and day about tearing down the culture in general and talking about how black culture and Latin culture ain't nothing. Some of them make their day of talking about how black and Latin relationships ain't nothing. And I see people donate hundreds of dollars to these people. I see people get online and talk about absolutely nothing just because their face is there and they see the amount of people that are in the chat room. They feel the need to show off and donate. But what they don't tell you is a lot of these people that are donating in that super chat, they cut that super chat off before it facilitates fully. So even though you saw $100 being donated on the screen, they will cancel the actual transaction before it gets to you, because they know the same thing that I do, that YouTube doesn't release that money until a certain time during the month. So you have time at that time to actually, however you want to, retract the money. And I think that's chuck. And that's, once again, like I said, people using their own as a sacrifice for the betterment of themselves. Guys, links are in the description box. I will talk to you guys a little bit later, and thank you for tuning in with me. I appreciate y'all.